Hi Gemini, welcome to your extended week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Gemini, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your keys to the week, and you have two because there are 2 weeks ahead, you've got in this deck it's called Faith, but it's the Hierophant card, and you've also got the Tower card. Now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, wait, what's this going to be about then? Actually, I think this is very good. I think for a lot of you, this may very well be, over the course of the next 2 weeks, there may be a moment where something about your belief system, your faith, your path, your whatever it is that you walk, is validated, but in a huge way. Like, I'm just trying to think of an example from my own life that will really demonstrate what I mean by this. Yeah, okay, so it's one thing to walk this path, it's one thing to read. I've done thousands of readings at this point over the course of my career. And, it's wonderful, and I'm totally humbled and grateful that so many people resonate with what I do. As an example, you read for someone, you never hear from them. 2-3 years later, they come back and they say to you, what you read for me was 100% spot on, and let me tell you how spot on it was. And they go on to tell you about the baby that you predicted, the sign of the baby that you predicted, and I'm not saying this to, ooh, look at me, like I'm so accurate. It's not that. What I'm saying is your faith in what you do, your faith in what you believe, over the course of the next 2 weeks, you're going to have a moment, an event, a realization, a shiver up your spine, whatever it is, that validates what you believe, what you follow, in so much like that it might give you one of those goosebump moments, like, like literally that. It could be like if you're religious and you're, into Christianity or, any of the bigger sort of more institutional religions. Maybe you pray to I'll give you an example. Let's say you or somebody prays to the Virgin Mary and she appears to you in a dream, or you see her presence, or like something like that. Like there's a moment over this next 2 weeks where something that you believe, something that you feel, some path that you walk is validated to you to the point where it's like a tower moment and you're like, whoa, okay, like I've always known, or maybe I've always believed, but now I know, right? There's a very big difference between, and I have to thank, there's a really wonderful soul who has taught me so much just by being themselves and walking their path, and teaching me by not teaching me, if that makes sense. And this is where this is coming from, because she's really helped me reframe some stuff. And this combination, yes, it could, you could talk about the downfall of a bank, which is totally possible on the wider world stage. But I feel like for you Geminis, on a more personal level, something that you've known or believed for a long time, this next week, this fortnight, you're going to have it like spelled out for you in stark sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is real. So this could be great, very exciting. So I just want to say a massive thank you so much for those of you that are continued subbies. Rafi loves you. For those of you that have supported me throughout 2021, for some of you ride or dies that have been with me from the beginning, or over the last 2, 3, 4, however many years. It really does mean the absolute world to me that you resonate with what I do and that you've supported me in the ways that you have. For those of you that are new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit that subscribe button. So for your actions and options, you've got the Ace of Swords. I feel like this validation helps you move in a new direction. It helps you cement something, right? For a lot of you, this feels for me like something that you've chosen to create, maybe something that you've chosen to go for. If you are seeking new work or new employment, it will definitely come to you. This tells me that this is going to happen in literally the next month. Possibly sooner for some of you, but certainly over the course of the next month, there's new work, there's new contracts, there's you seeking new paths, or, you know, maybe choosing to make different decisions based on what you now sort of start to realize or know. Some big validation shows up for you over the course of the next 2 weeks, and it's going to see you really ramping things up a gear. You know, for your communications and conversations, you have the Judgment card. I mean, the Judgment card falls underneath the Tower and underneath the Hierophant card. That's quite a lot of big energy. For those of you that are spiritually inclined, for those of you that have ancestor practice and or worships, this is powerful stuff. This could very well be a week where you have some sort of manifestation, some sort of validation. And I don't say these things lightly. It's just when you see certain things in the cards, you know, like, okay, this is likely to show up for you in a real world way. You know, for those of you that have been, you know, tapping on certain doors for a long time and maybe had no answer, that answer could come over the next couple of weeks. It's, you know, it's just a really nice energy. I mean, it is the Judgment card, so I will say when it comes to communication this week, it does look like some of you will have communications or conversations that end stuff. This might be the end of friendships. It may be, you know, and it is the Judgment card, so there might be something that you have to call out where you're having to say, look, you know what, this is where I'm drawing a line, right? You do have the Tower after all, so in many ways this is wonderful energy, but in some it does suggest that there are some endings here or some completions that you are putting down or enforcing in some way. For some of you, this could literally just be that something in your world is coming to an end, you know, and in a lot of ways it kind of sees you better for it. So, you know, let's say you're finishing a course. This week you finish a course and it's like, yeah, you know what, I've actually got somebody in mind at the moment as I say that. You know, like I'm finishing a course and it's like, okay, now that I've done that, like I'm leveled up, right? Because of everything that I've learned on that journey. For some of you, this could be the end of a friendship and it's you taking that power back. There's a lot of interesting changes coming up for a lot of you guys this week. When it comes to those of you that are employed by somebody else, this is it. This is the week. This is the next 2 weeks is going to highlight to you, you're ready. You're ready for whatever the new job is. For some of you, maybe you're hearing back over the next 2 weeks about an interview. It does suggest to me for a lot of you that are employed, there is a change of work coming, and this will come literally within the next 4 weeks. For those of you that are business owners, people that work for themselves, etc., this is really nice because it suggests that it's like you're releasing one set of clients and you're about to get a whole new one, right? It's like whoever comes in from here on in, they're going to be bigger, bolder, they're going to be probably wealthier as well, people that have more disposable income to spend, maybe people that walk very different paths to you and or your business, but bring you big or good business nonetheless, right? So this could be nice. For those of you that are retired or no longer working, I think this is going to be a sense of very deep reverence, and that will be for all of you Geminis, but you know, especially after whatever this event is, you know, there's just going to be a moment where it's like, wow, I consider myself humbled, you know, and not like in a like sort of way, but I can't explain it any better than I have. I've tried, but yeah, I think for a lot of you that are retired, this is going to be a week where something maybe on the internal level just goes and you're like, yeah, I get it. For your love and relations, you've got the Knight of Wands. So for those of you that are single and in that space, that lovable rogue / vagabond that rolls into town, makes your knees weak and then leaves, and that's as politely as I will put it. This could be the week, right, where you get together with someone. I mean, it's the holiday season, so it kind of makes sense. But whoever this person is, you know this is not the sort of person that you'll ever be able to tie down. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not a keeper. This is just somebody that you can have a lot of fun with, that you can feel that closeness as a wonderful bond, you know, like, and that's it. You know, it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's all of that, it's pleasurable, it's sensual, it's all of that, but it's not for keeps. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just, it's a fleeting sort of energy. For those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments already, this suggests that this is you making a decision to bring more passion to the relationship. And over this next 2 weeks, there's a touch more sense of an adventure. And I think that's good. I think you guys need that, right? For your money and materials, you have the 7 of Wands. So when it comes to you, and you've got this with the Judgment card, sorry to say, but this could be an old debt that surfaces, one that maybe you've forgotten to pay, maybe one that you've refused to pay, right? And you've not heard from them, and you thought it was done, you thought it was over because you raised a dispute or whatever, and it comes back to you within this next 2 weeks. I will say to you, if you're in a position, do whatever you can to cut it so that you don't have to take it in. It's funny because Taurus had a message that was kind of adjacent to this. So just think about that. I will say as well, there might be an issue or a challenge that arises around money or finances this week. Now, the reason I say this is because you've got this with the Judgment card in the communications, and then you've got the Tower. And one thing that I suggest to you here that might be a challenge to you this week or over this fortnight, it almost suggests that maybe somebody that's done something for you, or maybe given you something or paid for something, it's like, you know, people that pay for stuff and then kind of think that now they owe you, now you owe them, or they own you, or do you know what I mean? It's like, I've never liked any of that crap. It's like, if you're going to do something, and, you know, one of the ways that I was taught from my training with a certain wonderful human was that when we say freely given, we mean exactly that. There's no, you know, if you're going to give it and let it be done, right? Don't expect anything in return for it, unless you say, like, I'm going to give you this, but I expect something in return, right? Say what it is, say what it isn't. This kind of feels like you might be dealing with that, where it's like somebody's done something for you in the past, or they've, you know, bailed you out or whatever, and it's like now they kind of feel that you owe them consistently to show up for something. This might be that thing that you have to kind of shut down now, and I would advise that you do it swiftly. For your physical health and vitality, the 7 of Wands is your back, your heart, and your spine, but interestingly enough, the 7 of Wands for me always speaks to the immune system. So look after yourself this week, especially for those of you that have got chronic illnesses or situations that kind of ran in the background. I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice, but if you've got any sort of chronic situation that you've been working on or dealing with, beef up your internal security this week, all right, in any way that you know how. That is safe, and, you know, your doctor approves, and disclaimer. When it comes to your home and environment, yeah, it's not so easy because it is the 7 of Wands. I will say this to you, you are nimble of mind and mouth enough to wordsmith it, right? So if someone tries to get you into that space where they annoy you or whatever, maneuver yourself out, darling. So for the full moon, new moon even, on the 2nd of January, you have the Gate 2 and Direct. This is about going to the source, right? Whatever that means to you. So the new moon, maybe a need arises, maybe something that you want, all the rest of it. Go direct to the source. Don't flit about. Don't use a middleman or any of that stuff. Go direct to the source, all right? It's the best way that I can put the message behind this card without going into all the big explanation. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a wonderful time of it. I wish you all of the best. I cannot thank you enough for being with me over the course of this year and beyond, for those of you that have. I wish you all of the best for the rest of the year, and I will see you in the new year with all of the wonderful new things that I have planned. All right, with that said, take care, and I'll see you soon.